Tēnā koutou katoa. I'm joined today by Dilworth's Headmaster Dan Reddix. Together, we want to share with you our initial response to the findings of the Independent Inquiry, which were made available today by the Independent Inquirers. The Inquiry has published its report, which is available on its website. In June last year, the Dilworth Trust Board appointed Dame Sylvia Cartwright and Frances Joychild to head the Independent Inquiry into historical abuse at Dilworth School. The purpose of the inquiry was to examine and make findings on the nature and extent of historical abuse at Dilworth. The inquirers examined the school's response to complaints of abuse at the time, the adequacy of the actions taken, and the factors that caused or contributed to the abuse occurring. The adequacy of the school's current policies and procedures as measures to prevent any future abuse was also within the inquiry's terms of reference. The report is extensive, detailing the testimony of many former students who were abused and their family members, as well as former and current school staff and trustees. It confirms our previously held conclusion that Dilworth School failed to protect students in its care. The board will now carefully consider all of the report's findings and recommendations. When we have completed this work, I'll share our response with you. I want to thank the inquirers and their team for their work. I also want to sincerely thank former students who were abused, who gave evidence to the inquiry. Your testimony was courageous. The accounts of abuse that you endured and the effect that it has had on your lives, your families and whānau are heartbreaking. It is important that your voices have been heard, and to know today that your experience of abuse and the harm it caused you is acknowledged and you are believed. I am deeply sorry that Dilworth failed to protect you during your time at the school. I also apologise to your families and whānau. I hope that the report's publication will contribute in a meaningful way to the recovery and healing process for you all. While the inquiry and its report are now complete, our work continues. I encourage former students who are abused to engage with the Independent Redress program if they have not already. A reminder too that there is a listing service that continues to offer independent professional counselling and psychological support to any former Dilworth student in New Zealand or overseas. It is confidential and fully funded by Dilworth. Please recommend or pass on this contact email to anyone you think may benefit from it. Dan Reddix, Dilworth's headmaster, will now offer his perspective on the report.
Thank you, Aaron. Before I arrived at Dilworth in 2019 and we became aware of just how serious the historical abuse had been, the school started reviewing every aspect of our students' safety and well-being processes. And we have made extensive changes. I can assure you that student well-being and safety is at the heart of everything we do at Dilworth today. We have zero tolerance for abuse of any kind. As a result of the extensive changes we've made, Dilworth has become the first school in New Zealand to be accredited as a child-safe school under the ChildWise program. To ensure our systems, processes and personnel are continuing to deliver the highest standards of student safety and well-being, ChildWise provides its expertise through ongoing independent audits and checks. In addition to our work with ChildWise, we'll be looking very closely at any findings or recommendations in the Independent Inquiry Report that relate to the school's current child safety policies and procedures. And finally, I really want to acknowledge those former students who suffered abuse while at Dilworth School. Thank you. Thank you for your courage and your strength in participating in the Independent Inquiry. And you can be certain that we are determined to ensure that current and future students at Dilworth are protected. Nothing is more important. Although today's school is a very different place and the report acknowledges that reality, we cannot and we will not forget what happened to you.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank Dan and his team for their work and commitment to ensuring Dilworth is safe for current and future students and provides them an outstanding education. The Independent Inquirers found that the Dilworth community today is very different from that of the past. The report commends Dilworth's current leadership team and the Board for the energy and commitment brought to ensuring the safety of Dilworth students today to this highest possible standard. Establishing best practice child safeguarding standards has been a critical part to our response to historical abuse at Dilworth. Over the last 5 years, the Board has undertaken a number of initiatives to address this issue openly with our community, including reporting allegations of historical abuse to the police, leading to the establishment of Operation Beverley, establishing a listening service for former Dilworth students and their families and providing professional support services for those who need it, commissioning the Independent Inquiry, which has reported today, and creating a Dilworth Redress program, a first for New Zealand. The Board will now concentrate its efforts on considering the findings and recommendations of the Independent Inquiry and respond in due course.